French macarons, or as some might say macaroons, have taken the world by storm. They're so trendy, and here's how to make them. Start by sifting together 2 cups of powdered sugar. Next, sift in 1 cup of almond flour or ground almonds. Give that a really good whisk until everything's combined and there's no lumps. If you don't use a sieve, the tops will be lumpy. Next, separate 3 eggs. Place just the whites into a mixing bowl and mix until the egg whites are foamy. Gradually add in 1/3 cup of sugar. Once the mixture looks something like this, you can add in some food coloring. Stop whipping when your meringue reaches stiff peaks, which is what I just showed. Fold in half of the powdered sugar mixture into the egg whites and then the other half. Be sure to do this really carefully and stop mixing when the mixture reaches this consistency, kind of like lava. Fill into a piping bag or Ziploc bag and pipe out your cookies. Here's a little slow-mo shot for you. Tap the tray on the counter to get rid of air bubbles and let them rest for 30 minutes. Bake them at 300 degrees for about 15 minutes and they'll look something like this. Perfect! You can do this!
I took the cake, yeah. All about cake, yeah. Can we relate? All about cake, yeah.
I took the cake, all about cake.
Whip it right, he be like, yikes, what's the hype? This is something light, yikes, out of town on consistent flights, yikes, work hard, just a different way, get your life, you bitches ain't living right, yeah.
Oh, I wanna be somebody to someone. Oh, I never had nobody and no road home. I wanna be somebody to someone. And if the sun starts setting the sky.
I don't want to set the world on fire. I just want to start a flame in your heart. I've lost all ambition for worldly acclaim. I just wanna be the one you love. And with your admission that you feel the same, I just wanna be the one you love.
Raspberry macarons filled with white chocolate mascarpone cream, covered in some more dehydrated raspberries and filled with a raspberry jam. Sift your superfine almond flour and icing sugar. Whip up some aged egg whites until it's frothy and gradually add in your castor sugar. Once it's a pretty stiff meringue, let's color it pink with some gel food coloring. Add a dash of vanilla extract but also raspberry extract. I can't get over how beautiful this color is. Fold in a third of your dry mixture and then add in the rest. Fold, fold, fold until you get this consistency where you can draw the letter A without it breaking. Pipe it using a large round tip nozzle, give it a tap to get rid of any air bubbles, and let it sit for about 40 minutes so it can dry and form a shell. And then bake this at 150 degrees Celsius for about 13 minutes. Once it's cooled, let's pipe a ring of some mascarpone white chocolate cream, fill up the center with a generous amount of raspberry jam, close it up with its identical twin shell, and roll it in some dehydrated raspberry chunks.
Today we're making coffee macarons, so start by sifting icing sugar, almond meal and instant coffee together and give it a whisk until everything is combined. Then you can separate your egg yolk from your egg whites and start whisking the egg whites with sugar until stiff peaks form. So once you've done that, you can grab your dry ingredients and fold them into the egg whites in 3 separate batches. This is where it can take some practice, but the consistency needs to look something like this. And then you can fill your piping bag and pipe small circles onto a baking sheet, tap to remove air bubbles, and then bake for 14 minutes at 140 degrees Celsius. For the filling, heat up some cream with instant coffee and pour it over white chocolate. Then you can fill your piping bag with your filling and pipe it in between the shells. This part's optional, but I also melted dark chocolate and decorated the shells with coffee beans. And yeah, that's pretty much it. Here's how to make chocolate macarons. So for the filling, melt dark chocolate and cream together and let that sit on the side. Then sift your almond meal, icing sugar and cocoa powder together and give that a whisk until everything is combined. Then you can move on to your eggs. You're only going to need the egg whites for this recipe, so go ahead and use the egg yolks for something else. So whisk the egg whites and sugar together until you get stiff peaks. Then you can fold your dry ingredients into your wet ingredients in 3 separate batches. This is where it can take some practice to get the hang of it, because you need a very specific consistency, sort of like this. So fill your piping bag and pipe little circles onto a baking sheet and let that sit for about 20 minutes. Then you can put it in the oven for 14 minutes at 140 degrees Celsius. Then fill your piping bag with your filling, pipe it in between the shells, and that's pretty much it.
It's beginning to look a lot like Christmas everywhere you go. Take a look at the 5 and 10. It's glistening once again with candy canes and silver lanes that glow. It's beginning to look a lot like Christmas.
So I tried to make macarons and they were kind of a flop, but I'm just going to show you anyway. I first started by sifting the almond flour and icing sugar, and then I measured out the egg whites and I whipped them up. When it got a little frothy, I added the cream of tartar and the sugar, and I just kept mixing until I got these stiff shiny peaks. Then I started the macaronage, which is basically just folding the mixture through until you get this flowy consistency. And then I piped them, slammed them on the table, let them dry, and then I baked them. As you can see, the first batch was a massive fail, but the second came out better, so that's it.